We've all been there. You're going about your day, minding your own business, when out of nowhere someone says or does something so rude, so disrespectful, that it stops you in your tracks. Your heart races, your mind spirals with frustration, and all you want to do is snap back. But let me let you in on a little secret. There are smarter, more powerful ways to handle disrespect. Ways that not only keep your dignity intact, but leave the rude person scratching their head, wondering why they didn't get the reaction they were hoping for. Curious to know these secret tactics? Stay tuned, because in today's video, I'm going to share with you some game-changing strategies that will completely shift the way you deal with rude people in any situation. 1. The power of silence. Let's kick things off with one of the most underrated yet incredibly powerful tools in your arsenal: silence. You see, rude people often thrive on the reactions they get from others. They throw out disrespectful comments or actions like bait, hoping you'll bite. But here's the kicker. By saying absolutely nothing, you strip away the power they think they have. Picture this. You're in a work meeting and someone rudely interrupts you while you're presenting an idea. Instead of engaging in an argument or snapping back, you simply pause, let the silence hang in the air, and look them in the eye. That moment of silence can be so uncomfortable for the person who disrespected you, they might backtrack or realize how inappropriate their behavior was. Silence forces them to sit with their own disrespect without feeding into the conflict. Trust me, it speaks louder than words ever could. While silence is powerful, be careful not to use it as a form of passive aggressiveness. If you remain silent for too long, it could come across as cold or dismissive. The goal here isn't to give them the silent treatment, but to create a moment of reflection. After that pause, move on calmly, or choose to address the issue if necessary. Now, silence is a strong move, but sometimes you need more than silence to handle these situations with grace. Let's move on to the next secret. 2. The thank you technique. This one might sound counterintuitive at first, but bear with me. When someone is being rude or condescending, an unexpected response is to simply thank them. That's right, thank them for their input or feedback, no matter how backhanded it might be. By doing this, you maintain control of the situation and throw them off their game. Imagine you're at a family gathering and a relative makes a snide comment about your life choices, like, "Oh, still single, huh? Guess you're too busy with your career to settle down." Instead of getting defensive, you calmly say, "Thank you for your concern." Not only does this stop the conversation in its tracks, but it also prevents them from escalating the situation because they didn't get the defensive reaction they were hoping for. It leaves them confused and with no further ammunition. Don't overdo this by using sarcasm. A sarcastic thank you can come across as condescending and may escalate the situation. The goal here is genuine, polite acknowledgement, not mockery. Keep it sincere to avoid looking smug or passive-aggressive. Of course, while saying thank you can neutralize many situations, there are times when you need to establish more concrete boundaries. So let's dive into the next secret. 3. Set boundaries and enforce them. Setting boundaries is crucial in dealing with disrespectful people. Some people will keep pushing limits until you clearly tell them what's not acceptable. The trick here isn't just about setting boundaries, it's about enforcing them with confidence and consistency. Let's say you have a friend who's always late for meetups, never respecting your time. The first few times, you let it slide, but eventually, you start to feel disrespected. Next time, calmly tell them, "I value our time together, but it's important to me that we stick to the plans we make. If you're going to be more than 10 minutes late, let's reschedule." The secret here is consistency. If they're late again, follow through on your boundary and leave or reschedule. This signals that you won't tolerate the disrespect. The key here is balance. While it's important to set boundaries, make sure you're not being overly rigid or aggressive in enforcing them. Remember, boundaries are about respect, not creating walls. If you enforce a boundary too harshly, it may come off as controlling or hostile. This could make you seem unreasonable rather than composed. Establishing boundaries is key, but sometimes reflecting a person's behavior back at them can be just as effective. Let me show you how in the next point. 4. Mirror their behavior. Another secret weapon in your toolkit is the power of mirroring. This is when you calmly reflect the behavior of the rude person back at them, but without the negativity. Essentially, you're holding up a mirror to show them how they're acting without escalating the situation. Say you're at a restaurant and the waiter is being unusually snippy or rude. Instead of snapping back, you can mirror their behavior in a non-aggressive way. For instance, if they roll their eyes at your request, you can politely say, "I see you're really busy today, but could I please have a refill when you get a moment?" By calmly acknowledging their rudeness and keeping the conversation neutral, you subtly make them aware of their own behavior without directly calling them out. Often, this makes them reconsider how they're treating you. Avoid mirroring the negativity itself. The idea is to reflect their tone or behavior calmly, not to mimic their rudeness. If they're being aggressive and you reflect that aggression back, it could quickly turn into a confrontation. Instead, mirror the situation with neutrality and politeness. Mirroring can be powerful, but sometimes it helps to take a lighter approach. This brings us to our next secret. 5. Use humor to diffuse the situation. Humor is one of the most effective ways to handle rude people, especially in social situations. When someone is being disrespectful, using humor not only disarms them, but can also lighten the mood and take the sting out of the situation. It's important, though, that the humor isn't sarcastic or cutting. Think lighthearted and playful instead. Let's say a colleague makes a sarcastic comment about your work, like, "Oh, I see you're doing things your way again as usual." Instead of getting defensive, you could smile and say something like, "Well, you know me, always breaking the mold." This response shows confidence and doesn't give them the satisfaction of seeing you flustered. Plus, it keeps things light without escalating the tension. Be mindful not to use humor in a way that's sarcastic or biting. If your joke feels like a jab, it can escalate the tension rather than diffuse it. Aim for light-hearted humor, not jokes that will belittle the other person. While humor is great for certain situations, sometimes a more empathetic approach can work wonders. Let's explore this next strategy. 6. Empathy as a shield. Here's a twist you might not expect. Sometimes, the best way to deal with disrespect is to show empathy. Many times, rude people are acting out because of something deeper: stress, insecurity, or personal issues. While you shouldn't excuse their behavior, understanding that it's not about you can help you stay calm and respond more effectively. You're at the grocery store, and the cashier seems rude and dismissive while ringing up your items. Instead of taking it personally, you could choose to see the situation through a lens of empathy. Maybe they've had a long day, or they're dealing with personal stress. You might respond with, "Looks like it's been a busy day for you. Hang in there." Often, this will take them by surprise and shift the energy of the interaction. Your kindness could be exactly what they need to snap out of their funk. While empathy is powerful, don't let it become an excuse for their bad behavior. You can show empathy without excusing or tolerating disrespect. Set limits so that you're not constantly letting things slide just because you understand where the person's behavior is coming from. Now, speaking of personal issues, it's important to remember that not everything is about you. That's where our next secret comes in. 7. The art of not taking things personally. One of the hardest but most powerful secrets to dealing with disrespect is learning not to take it personally. Rude behavior often has little to do with you and everything to do with the other person. When you remind yourself of this, it becomes much easier to stay calm and not let their negativity affect your mood or self-esteem. Say your boss is being particularly harsh in their feedback on a project. Instead of internalizing their criticism and feeling like a failure, remind yourself that their stress or frustration might be at play here. Maybe they're dealing with pressure from higher-ups or having a bad day. By not taking their tone personally, you can focus on what's constructive in their feedback and ignore the disrespectful delivery. While it's good to not internalize someone's rudeness, you also don't want to ignore repeated disrespect or dismiss hurtful behavior altogether. Not taking it personally means not letting it affect your self-worth, but it doesn't mean you shouldn't address harmful patterns. But what if the disrespect continues? Sometimes you need to address it directly. Let's move on to how you can call out rude behavior in a way that's respectful and effective. 8. Call out the behavior. Politely sometimes, the most effective way to stop disrespect is to call it out, but in a way that's calm and non-confrontational. This shows the other person that you're aware of their behavior and won't tolerate it without escalating into an argument. You're at a social event and someone keeps interrupting you mid-sentence. Instead of letting it slide or snapping at them, you could say, "Hey, I'm almost done with my thought. I'd love to finish what I was saying before we move on." By addressing the issue head-on in a polite way, you make them aware of their disrespect without creating unnecessary conflict. The key here is remaining calm and respectful when calling someone out. If you sound too confrontational or accusatory, it may escalate the situation. Avoid making it about their character and focus on the specific behavior you want to address. Of course, while it's great to call out behavior politely, sometimes the key is in controlling your own reaction. Let's dive into how you can stay grounded in tough situations. 9. Stay grounded. Control your reaction. When dealing with rude people, one of the most important things you can control is your own reaction. The moment you let them get under your skin, you've given them the upper hand. By staying calm and grounded, you maintain control of the situation. And, more importantly, of yourself. You're in a heated argument with a coworker who's raising their voice and becoming increasingly disrespectful. Instead of matching their tone, you take a deep breath, lower your voice and say, "I can see you're upset. Let's take a step back and talk this through calmly." By not rising to their level, you're showing emotional maturity, and you'll likely find that they begin to mirror your calm demeanor as well. Staying calm doesn't mean being passive or allowing someone to mistreat you. It's about maintaining your emotional control. But if the behavior continues, it's okay to assert yourself firmly. Don't confuse staying calm with letting someone continually cross boundaries. Finally, let's look at the last secret, which may be the simplest yet most effective of all: knowing when to walk away. 10. Walk away when necessary. Here's a secret that's often overlooked. Sometimes the best response to disrespect is no response at all. Walking away doesn't mean you're weak or avoiding confrontation. It means you're choosing to protect your energy and refuse to engage with negativity. You're at a party, and someone starts making passive-aggressive comments about your outfit or appearance. Instead of engaging or firing back, you simply smile, excuse yourself, and walk away. By removing yourself from the situation, you're signaling that their disrespect isn't worth your time or attention. You keep your dignity intact and avoid unnecessary drama. Walking away doesn't mean ignoring every uncomfortable situation. It's important not to walk away prematurely from conversations that could be resolved with healthy communication. Reserve this move for situations where continuing the interaction would only cause further harm. Walking away doesn't mean giving up. It means you're choosing your battles wisely and not letting rude people control your emotions or ruin your day. Handling disrespectful people isn't about becoming a doormat or letting people walk all over you. It's about mastering the art of control. Control over your emotions, your reactions, and the way you let other people's behavior affect you. These secret strategies, silence, humor, empathy, setting boundaries, give you the power to rise above disrespect and stay grounded in your own self-respect. So next time someone is rude to you, remember, the real power lies in how you choose to respond. In the end, how you handle disrespect says more about you than it does about the person being rude. Whether you choose silence, humor, empathy, or even walking away, the key is to remain calm and confident in yourself. You've got this. What's your go-to tactic when dealing with disrespectful people? Drop it in the comments below. If you found these tips helpful, be sure to watch this video, The Secret to Mastering Any Skill, and subscribe for more life-changing advice. See you in the next one.